You don't have to lie. No, you don't have to
Don't
lie.
overdo it. Don't, you know.
Is there anybody that does not know me?
People watching the video might not.
They don't need to know me.
And this is the amazing Michael Collins. And if you don't know him, you should. How's that?
There you go. Works for me. I don't want to, I want to put this disclaimer out. I'm not bragging about this trip. Okay. But I do want to show images from it and talk about what happened during the trip. Because it was fun. It was a blast, and I'd do it in a heartbeat again. So I am going to kick up my PowerPoint, and everybody can see my PowerPoint up there.
Yes.
Looks
Okay.
good already.
This was one of the sunsets we got like 3 or 4 days into the thing. We told our driver we wanted to sunset, find us an acacia tree, and the sun just fit right in there perfectly. So a lucky shot. Okay, let's see what happens. Starting off, had to get my ducks in a row, and Yogi, you can definitely relate to this. Number one, make sure that your passport is up to date, and make sure that you have at least 3 blank pages that are for visa. One of the people that went with us didn't have the 3 blank pages in the back. He had just blank pages, but not visa blank pages, and he was turned away at the gate. So he had to go to the embassy and get an update really fast, and he missed 3 days or 4 days of our trip. So just a reminder, when you do a trip like this, make sure your passport is up to date.
He was turned away before he got on the plane or after he got there?
Before he got on the plane in LAX, they
Uh-huh.
said, you need 3 pages. And
Wow.
he didn't have it. And that was brought up during our pre-game discussions. So he knew about it ahead of time. He saw the 3 pages in the back, but they didn't say visa on the back. They're just blank pages, which I don't know why they have those, but they do. Vaccination, highly recommended, especially in Africa or anywhere you're going overseas. Get a vaccination. Enough said, no politics. Had to get a COVID test before I got there within 3 days. I left on Wednesday morning. I went to the doctor on Sunday morning to a urgent care who said, you will have your test. It will be back. So Sunday, they're not going to get it back, of course. Monday, I didn't get it back. Tuesday, I'm starting to panic a little bit. In the afternoon, I got an email and a text saying, here's your COVID test. You're good to go.
Wow.
If you go on the trip, make sure you print your COVID test. Some airlines require.
Did you have the choice of doing the antigen test as well, or just the PCR?
They just said, do the PCR test. I did the PCR. And then when
Cheryl and I were just in Peru, and we could have used either, which was nice because the PCR test is like over 100 and the antigen test was only like 40. So there was a price difference.
They asked for a PCR test, so that's what I got. I exchanged a whole lot of money. This is $250 worth of RAN, which is what, 3,200 Mel or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
So I got my Monopoly money go over there. I didn't use it at all. I used my credit card for just about everything.
Wow.
I did use it at a convenience store while we were driving from Durban to the reserve, just so I could use it and get change and get some small stuff just for fun. So
What about tipping for your guides and porters?
I paid, you could pay in US or RAN. I paid in RAN for the tips for the guides and the staff. I converted out enough to, and I think, did we leave US money or did we use RAN for the house staff, Mel?
We left RAN.
Okay. hard for me to remember. That was a long time ago. By the way, this was just a month ago that Mel and I went there. Okay, here's the trip. My plan is to leave Boise at 8 a.m. to LAX. Leave LAX at 10:15 to Newark, Newark to Joburg. I get to the airport. The nice lady at the access desk says, "Hey, Mike, I'm your neighbor. You know, don't tell anybody this, but I'm going to put you in for an upgrade, so they may upgrade you on the flight." Oops, I pushed the wrong button. I already upgraded you. You're going first class.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Well, my 8 o'clock flight got delayed. So we couldn't leave until 9:20, which would put us in LA at like 10:30 or so. So that got screwed up. She tried to book me through the Chicago. They just shut the gate at Boise to Chicago, Chicago to Newark. So I missed that flight. She booked me on another flight with Virgin Atlantic. If you've ever gone Virgin Atlantic, you will not take another flight on another airline. These guys were phenomenal. This shows my seat at 58G, row 58. If you don't know where row 58 is, you go through the restroom, go downstairs, and it's down below. You have to go through the restroom to get there.
What?
My best friend, my roommate in South Africa, sitting in first class, drinking champagne, having a good time, sends me a picture while we're still at the gate. I take a picture trying to see first class from where I'm at. You can't see it. Thanks, Mel. They had a bed where they were at, and it's an all-night flight. It's a red eye. This was my bed. I had a row to myself, 3 seats.
Oh,
Well,
that's
my
lucky.
head is on one armrest, my butt's on the other armrest, my feet are underneath me. That's how much room you have in 3 seats.
Wow.
I was lucky to have that. Leg room? Hi, Mel. That's Mel on the left. Not that Mel would send me a picture like that. And you can see where my legs are at on this flight.
Well, Mel has shorter legs though.
It don't matter.
And I still had room to go.
Yeah. And when you're in coach, you're in coach. So that's okay. I was happy. We got to London and at Heathrow. Every other seat had a sign like this: "Do not use this seat." So me being the smart ass that I am, I had to take a picture of this sign. And when we got on the plane from London to Johannesburg, I asked the flight attendant, "How much would it cost me to get into first class?" She goes, "Well, where are you sitting at?" I showed her my ticket. She goes, "Oh." She said, "I'll come back and talk to you in a little while, and we'll discuss it." She came back, said, "Mr. Collins, I need you to come with me up to first class. We're rechanging your seats." So I was lucky on the flight from London to Joburg. All 3 of us were in first class. All 3 had a
Oh.
bed, and it was spectacular. I got some sleep that night.
Nice.
We hit some
And
gnarly.
she didn't charge you to
She
change you?
did not. She did not.
Wow.
The flight was maybe 10% full. It was
Oh.
the very first flight from London to Johannesburg since the COVID started.
Wow.
Wow.
So there's very few people on board, and we lucked out. We hit some gnarly turbulence, probably 3 a.m. Sharon didn't even wake up. Mel and I are like, holy crap. The flight attendants came by shining their flashlights on everybody, make sure everybody's belted in. It was that gnarly a turbulence for like,
Wow.
3 to 5 minutes, and then off we went. And got to Johannesburg, went to Durban, waiting on our flight from Johannesburg to Durban. We had a few hours to kill, so this is what you do. Any chance I got some sleep. So it was fun. In Durban, we stayed at an Airbnb. for 2 days to acclimate and get everybody there together. And then we flew or drove off to the reserve. We got to put our feet in the Indian Ocean while we were there. Went to the beach, which is about 2 blocks away, had lunch, and great time. Then we got to the reserve. This place is phenomenal. This is our crew. The guy on the right kneeling with the vest and the white shirt is Buddy. He's one of the head tour guides. The guy to his left with the sunglasses on his hat is one of the drivers. The guy on the left over here in the green is one of the drivers. And you guys know Sharon, obviously, right here. These guys took care of us up there, so it was a lot of fun. My first picture as we're driving through was on my cell phone. I knew it was going to be a great week. Just seeing that tree with the clouds and the blue sky, I said, oh, this is going to be wonderful. These are the kind of vehicles we're in. Normally it was 3 to a vehicle, so everybody got their own row.
Wow.
This one we had 6 because there's 2 different groups that were out that morning. In fact, all 4 groups went out. There's 4 groups of us, and all 4 went out that morning and had a good time. We were chasing lions that morning. Me with Buddy in the vehicle after we came back. And you can see here, we do a little bit of boonie hopping. We went off road several times, and you hold on to yourself and bounce around a whole lot. The cabins that you stay in, there's 2 to a room here, shower, 2 beds, 2 desks, Wi-Fi, which kind of worked sometimes, once in a while. Mel was on it his side of the room, and I'm trying to get Wi-Fi on my side of the room, or vice versa. It just didn't work all the time, but it was enough to where we could do what we had to do. Now to the good stuff. This is what you all been waiting for, I hope. Game drive number 1. We spent the first hour and a half searching for a lion. The animals are tagged, so we've got an idea where they're at, and the drivers will hold up a device to find them. And we spent the first hour and a half looking, so we didn't get a whole lot of shots. My first shot out of the camera was this bird, a secretary bird flying away. One of the guys from South Africa, Andrew, said, you owe me a beer for every bad shot you take of this, because I'm shooting on machine gun. And I showed him my images, said not a bad shot in the group, so you owe me the beer. A lot of these images I will be putting on the camera information, because I know people will be asking what lens you were using, ISO, etc. It's going to be there for you. So if you have more questions, feel free to interrupt me and I'll be happy to answer them. The secretary bird is a wicked cool looking bird, especially when he's on the ground, but even better. This guy, super colorful. When he's in flight, he's gorgeous. On the ground or in the trees, he's gorgeous. And a crocodigator. They have a few crocodigators on the campus. We were photographing hippos, got out of the vehicle, and one of the guides reminded us not to get too close to the water, as there are crocs out there, so be careful. And hippos, I did zoom in a little bit on the big picture, as you can see by the small picture, just to get the yawn, but they were fairly close to the water. I'm shooting at 500 millimeters, which is as far as my lens would go. But when you get a hippo yawn, you got it. Later on, I'm going to show you some other hippos, and really cool. They didn't have a bazillion zebras, but they had some there. Chobe, did Chobe have a lot of zebras?
No. And the reason why is zebras are considered prime rib. So a lot of, the lions and cheetahs and leopards tend to like to eat these guys, especially the young. So it's kind of tough for them to get really big herds of zebra.
Yeah. I know some places go, they have big herds, but here, herd of maybe 8 or 9 is what we saw. Cape buffaloes, they got a few of them out there. This guy is one of the capes that's not part of the herd. I can't remember what they called them, Dagaboys. The Dagaboys are cut off from the herd and definitely have a very bad attitude. And you can see this was shot at 500 millimeters. So I was out a distance from him, closed in with the camera, but he's mean. And I'll show you some meanness later on. A couple of rhinos. These are the gray rhinos. Is that what they're called, Mel?
Great rhinos.
Yeah. We did get some black rhinos as well, which there's not very many of them. These were in a group of 3 hanging out by the lake. And after we shot the alligators, we saw these guys, or the crocodiles, and started getting dark. So this is basically all I got that night on the first 3-hour drive. We're picking up some people from one of the hides, and it was getting close to sunset, monkey in a tree. I knew I couldn't light him from the front, so I just silhouetted him and made a shot out of it. Warthog. The reason I put this guy in here is 2 reasons. Number one, if you look at the ISO, 10,159. The grain on there is amazing. You would think that there'd be so much noise and grain at 10,000 ISO, but there wasn't. 1/20th of a second. After I shot the picture of this guy, he ran out of the hole. 6 more of these guys ran out behind him. They just kept coming out. Amazing. Obviously, I didn't shoot them because I was shooting a very low shutter speed. So then we had to.
That's your 850?
The D850. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, no, that was the D800. D800E, because that was the 24-70 lens. I had both cameras running at the time. I had the 24-70 on my D800, and the D850 had my 200-500 lens. So I just cranked it up as far as I could go, as fast as I could to get this guy. This was dinner, or actually this was just our appetizer before dinner. This is the kind of food they fed us. It was amazing. I think it's a stuffed salmon with avocados on top or something on top. I don't remember what it was, but it was really good. Very delicious. I kind of broke my diet a little bit while I was there, especially with the desserts. Oh. Day 2. Day 2, we went to Scavenger Hide is what it's called. 6 o'clock in the morning is when you start. From 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock, you're in the hide. This is our guide. He's out there raking to smooth out the area. They plant food in a little cage thing down below the ground. So the birds and the other animals come in and start scavenging, basically. They know it's there, so they come every day to feed on it. And this is what it looks like. On the back, there's a little stairway to go down inside. And on the front, there's a window that looks out over the area where he was scraping at. This is shot from inside. That's the outside of it. So you get there a little after 6, just before sunrise. And then the birds start showing up. This was shot ISO 4000, and I was at 200 millimeters. So I had my camera all the way back in because they were so close. I had the big lens out there for the little birds that show up. They have tripods and brackets in the hides for you. They have mounts that you can mount your camera onto their brackets, so you can just load up and you're good to go. So you don't have to hand hold everything. It's amazing. And these guys just went hog wild and had a good time. What you want to do? I don't know what you want to do. Oh, don't start that again. Anybody that knows the Jungle Book knows that. So I kept thinking about the whole time I'm watching these guys. And yes, they have an attitude with each other, start fighting over the food. Blast. and a stork flew in. The one bird in the back right here, the one vulture, is sharp. The one in front is soft. The one in the stork is soft because of the depth of field is so shallow, unfortunately. So there's some images that I really love that the depth of field is so shallow because I'm at 5.6 or 6.5, just firing away. I mean, I'm just totally, the whole time things are happening for a whole 3 hours. I mean, you can caption this table for one or something to that effect. I don't know. I just kept firing. And that's like the insides of animals that roadkill or whatever. They freeze it and then stuff it in there for the morning so they have food to go and get them. This guy looks like he's talking. He wasn't. He just ate too much and had to regurgitate it. So it's pretty gnarly. It was fun watching him though. I mean, okay, no judges in the house, correct? Good. I entered this in Sacramento for their print comp. I just want to test drive it, see how it works. It looks like he's eating a chocolate frog, but it's just a piece of meat that got a lot of dirt on it. Hanging out on the log, pulling that meat out of the little hole they have there. This guy, the most beautiful, one of the most beautiful birds I've ever seen. I could never catch him and get him sharp. This is about the sharpest one I got. They were hard to catch and they were fast. Some white-necked crows have some attitude with the stork. A little bit of flying to fight with them. A little tug of war going on. I'm going to enter this one in print comp too, just for fun, to see how it does. And then you can see the food is just covered in mud, but they eat it. I mean, they love it. Got a close-up of him eating. You see it going through his bill there. Night hide number 1, 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Monday till 9 o'clock Tuesday morning. So you've got 12, that's a bunch of hours. I got maybe 15, 20 shots out of this. This is the hide. You can see I'm sitting down right now and you can see how close the roof is to my head. I got one of my longer lenses on there. In the back next to my face is a control to turn the water on. So when the animals drink too much or splash too much, you can refill the water that's in the little pool in front of you and keep it full. If you stand up very slowly. When you walk through the door, duck further than you think. I had a crease on my head that bled for about an hour when I went through the door. And I did
Some
bump
of
my
us might
head.
not have that problem.
Yeah, you will. I was almost on my knees going through the door, so you would.
Oh.
I bonked my head probably 30 times. So behind me, there's 4 beds. So you can sleep if you want to sleep at night. One of the guys I was with, we got there at 3. He popped open his bottle of wine. 6:30, he finished the bottle, ate his dinner, went to bed. We had to wake him up when animals showed up. So he wasn't a full-time photographer. You can see the little setup on the camera there, a little gimbal, so you can go up and down and sideways, and makes for some really easy shooting there. This guy's a Nyla. Before it got dark, he came up, got some water, looking straight at us while he's drinking. They're not supposed to be able to see in the hide, but I think they can.
I don't buy it.
Trust me. When we later on, we'll talk about whether I buy it or not.
So you had 4 people to each hide?
We actually had three to a hide. So there's 4 groups of 3. There's 12 people altogether. So we had 3 groups or 3 people in each group. So we had 3 tripods in there and a lot of room, 4 beds. You could have 4 if you had more people there. This is shot at 3200 f4 1/200th of a second, just before it got sunset. There's lights, LED lights that are to the right, to the left of everything that shine towards the middle of this little lake. It looks like it's really far out there. It's maybe 15 feet. It's not that far out there. And the Cape Buffalo had a partner show up. And these guys are a pain in the butt because they'll just stand there and block everything so nobody else can show up.
Yeah.
And they look gnarly up close. They are huge up close. They don't look that big here. There, when you started getting closer, he was huge. And just to do something different, I shot the feet. You always do something. I mean, I've got plenty of these. I've got plenty of the buffaloes there. So I decided to shoot the feet. Did the elephants like that. Anything different, just to be different. Maybe to come out, maybe it won't. We'll give it a shot. Try and catch the drips. If you got a drip, you're doing good. This is when it started getting really dark. And you can see I caught a drip there, which is cool. Light might be a little bit too bright on the just below his forehead right here. So I could probably darken that down in post-processing if I wanted to, but attitude. These guys got attitude. And they're the doggy boys that aren't part of the herd, so they've got a bad attitude to start with. And they're saying don't mess with them because they do have bad attitudes. There's my bird again. I love this guy. I just couldn't get a crisp, sharp image of him. Got a little bug in his mouth and a little attitude to go with it. I love the attitude of these guys. The bug is sharp, but he's not, at least not sharp enough for me.
Did they plant that bug too, or was that a bug that actually flew by?
You can't really see there, but there's bugs all over the water. So in the morning when these guys show up, they come over and start snagging the bugs and having a good time.
And those are bugs that the people have thrown out there.
No, that's
The dead
just
bug.
dead bugs
Oh,
or
they're-
nature. They're jumping and flying all over the place.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's actual nature bugs.
Oh, okay.
When we get to the bird hide, they'll put some bird seed out for us, which we'll get to in a little while.
Well, good capture on that one to catch him getting a bug in flight.
Not quite sharp enough on the body of the bird, though,
Yeah.
at least
Well,
in my opinion. But
maybe that AI that sharpen.
I
thing.
tried
Oh,
sharpen. I tried sharpen AI. Game drive number 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We got done with this hide at 9 in the morning. You go back, put your batteries on charge, load your images, go to breakfast, come back, load the second camera's images, take a 1-hour nap. 3 o'clock that afternoon, you're back out on a drive. So you're sleep deprived. More Cape buffaloes. I mean, there's plenty of those all over the place there. And we got to see some giraffes, which was really cool. They're burning sugar cane in the background. That's the black smoke you see in the background. But the giraffes sit there and stared at us. This is my double-headed giraffe.
Hmm.
And then the baby giraffe nuzzling up to
Aw.
mom. Really cute. Aww. Even better is the baby giraffe that's nursing while mom nuzzles the baby. So that was really cool. And then we found the baby cheetahs. And at first they were just waking up from a nap, so they're really mellow, weren't doing very much. And then they started crawling all over mom, nuzzling up to mom. They are the cutest little things. I'm a cat person, so I love cats. And if you look at the bottom left picture right there, there's a tick on mom's nose.
Mm.
It's crystal clear sharp in the image. So, but these came out really sharp. I'm very happy with them. We got within 15, 20 feet of the cheetahs on the ground. So we're out on the ground shooting these guys. Mel got, and his partner got a little bit closer. Mel, do you want to expound on that one a little bit?
Well, the first thing I tell you is don't make any sudden movements. The guy who was with me kind of jerked a little and kind of moved, trying to get into a position. And the cheetah was up on her feet and hissing at him quicker than you knew what happened. Needless to say, we all kind of went back to the Jeep to change our pants.
There's definitely enough to get your attention.
It got more than our attention.
But you can see them climbing all over mom, starting to play a little bit, starting to get rambunctious. And they're going out pretending like they're hunting, and they're just the cutest little things. And then mom took them out there. I think they were going out on a hunt. We followed them for a little ways, then backed off so they can get their dinner. You see the bottom left, all 4 cubs going in line, following mom. Just amazing. Close to sunset, so the temperature's nice and warm. The color temperature's warm. It was beautiful there. And then we saw this. I was at 500 millimeters on that because I wasn't going to get too close. There's 2 adults, so I didn't want to get too close to them. Yeah, I'm kind of a chicken, especially after Mel told me the story. Game drive, Wednesday morning, 6 o'clock a.m. We went out finding lions. We finally found them. The original image is on the bottom right, very underexposed. We'll go through and expose it if we have time at the end of this, just to get the image, those 2 hanging out there. ISO 4000, 60th of a second wide open, and it was still dark. So you got to bump that ISO up a whole lot when you're out there shooting early in the mornings, because this is just prior to sunrise. Mama lion bored, so she's yawning, or she's laughing at one of my jokes on the left. I'm not sure which. Laughing at the jokes on the right and making fun of my bad joke on the left. I don't know. We were within 20, 25 feet of these. This is at 200 millimeters. So my big lens all the way in to get her in the frame. They were out together when they first started. And then the male lion went up to the brush along to the left of us, and she stayed in the road. And this is what he did. He made a little bit of a loud roar. And if you've never heard a lion roar from 5 feet away, it just reverberates through your body. Loud, full of bass, and very loud.
It is something you will remember.
It's something you very well remember. And that's another changing your shorts kind of deal as well. I was ready to change my shorts after that one. I knew he was there, but I didn't know he was going to make that much noise. Then he went up to the top of the hill at sunrise for me. So we had a lot of color in the sky. Same image, only cropped in to get rid of the fence. So it looks like it's in nature. And they were bellowing back and forth to each other. The male and the female were bellowing. So it's very entertaining, very, very, very cool. I mean, these guys are just walking amongst us, walking by us, not even paying any attention to us. They're used to us being there. 500 millimeters when he's off to the brush. I haven't retouched this to take out the grass that's in his face, which I will someday, but That's how close they were. And they went up and played lovey-dovey up there. The lighting on his face at sunrise was just phenomenal. You could see it there, and you're just pounding away with your camera, just clicking away. And I went to f8, so I'd have a little bit more depth of field, not a lot, but a little bit more, facing into the sun. And again, they started bellowing with each other. Cats will be cats. They'll stretch, they'll roll around, they'll have a good time.
Well, okay, going back to the roll around, the reason that he was actually doing that is they told us he was rolling in some shit that was on the road because they assumed that he was probably going to go hunting soon, and it was to mask his scent. That's why he was doing that.
You can see between his paws on the left-hand side and underneath his cheek on the right-hand side, the defecation that he's rolling in. So you learn about the animals. The guides will tell you all about the animals. They are very, very knowledgeable. They know all the birds, all the animals, and can tell you all about them. It's really cool. Bird hide. It's kind of like scavenger hide. It's off to the south a little bit further than the scavenger hide. This is where I have my long lens as my primary lens, shooting anything that moves or doesn't move. One of the guys with us, the guy that drank the wine, wasn't that much of a photographer. He didn't care. I don't want to see birds. I want to see all the other animals. Well, I'm cranking away because I'm seeing all these beautiful birds. I mean, look at these guys. The background is beautiful and blown out, nice and warm. I'm just really cool. Cut off the guy's wing as he took off, but I got some really cool water drops coming off his body and his feet, which I thought was really cool. I didn't expect him to take off, so you just keep firing away at these guys. This place, they did hide some bird seed in the front there and along the side to attract the birds in there. This one I'm entering in Santa Clara Valley is a test drive to see how it does.
Oh, that's wonderful. Love that.
I just thought it was beautiful. And I did a little bit more to it than this. This is just the PowerPoint frame to it. I did a different frame to it to make it a little bit more better. Okay, if you don't have the lens power and the bird is too far away, don't bother shooting it. Lesson learned. Some people are trying to shoot these with the 24 to 70.
Oh.
It can't be done. And this was with the long lens, and I didn't have enough to even pull it, but it was one of those turquoise birds that I like, and I wanted to try. This guy was in flight, obviously, to 1/200th of a second, and it's that blurred.
It's ephemeral look.
Yeah, I love the color on it. And he was, as you can see on the bottom left, he's splashing out of the water. Nice haircut. I couldn't get this. These guys walked past and forth, and they stayed on the sides of the bird hide the whole time, but I couldn't get one to go by me. And I tried so hard. Finally got one in front and got him. I just love the red eyes. And that's
What's it called?
That is called, hang on, I gotta look him up again. A crested guinea fowl. They call them guineas. I had to figure out what he was, and he wasn't in my book. When I was there, I got a guidebook that has a bunch of the animals and birds in it, but this guy's not listed in there. So I had to look him up, and I actually emailed one of our guides this morning and said, "What's the name of this guy? I can't remember." And he came up for me. Another bird just landing.
Cool.
And we go back, have dinner, relax, load our cameras, take a shower, wake up, dark 30 to go out at 6 a.m. again. Mel, you know the name of this bird?
Nope.
Kingfisher. Mel showed me a kingfisher this morning. I said, "Is that a kingfisher?" He goes, "I don't know. Let me look it up." And it was. These birds are super cool. I mean, the one he had was just gorgeous and beautiful. So
Must be about a dozen different versions of a kingfisher.
there are. This is an owl going across the field early in the morning. And we had an appearance with Mr. Giraffe again. I couldn't pass him up, or her.
Oh,
I don't know
nice.
which. Shot at 500 millimeters, so I crank it on the face. These guys, lilac breasted roller or something like
Yeah,
that.
roller. A roller. Yep.
Roller. These guys are beautiful, and in flight, they're even more beautiful. I mean,
I think this is the South Africa bird, South African bird. So,
and he's gorgeous. And he stood there for long enough for me to catch him a couple times at 500 millimeters all the way out. So that's him in flight. The blues on his wings are just unbelievable. Another kingfisher, different variety. So that's all we got that drive. We spent 3 hours, and that's about all I got out of that one. Then we went to the night hide. Well, the first night hide, I got 15 shots maybe. The second night hide was a little different. This is what it looks like inside. Those are the gimbals and the tripods. Your guide cleans the window for you first thing. You can open it and clean it if it gets dirty, which there is a chance it can, because the animals and the birds and everybody come flying in there, and spiders, and really cool. The guides take care of you something fierce. They're really good. You can also fill the water up, and you can see how small that lake really is that's in front of them. So I figured, okay, after the last tide not giving very many, I'm going to shoot birds. So I started shooting birds, and anything that appeared, I started shooting it. This is why the guy was drinking his wine, because it was only birds showing up. And they have alarms when the bigger animals show up that start beeping and let you know that they're there. And just really cool. That's one of my favorite shots. Mommy and baby walking away. The baby's a little bit soft, so I can't enter it print comp. Oh well. I might paint it and see how it comes out. And then this guy shows up. It starts beeping, and we're looking around going, we don't see anything. And all of a sudden, my 24-70 is not wide enough to shoot this guy. So this is all the way out, and that's the full frame. Did some adjustments on the camera so that I could get a sunset silhouette behind him, little water dripping from the mouth, just playing around, getting something different, warmer, or the sunset tones. He sat there and drank for like 5 minutes for us. Really nice. You get tired of shooting him, so you shoot the feet and do different things. He's a little bit soft focused on the foot there, so that one's worthless. But that's at 24 millimeters. I wish I would have brought my 14 millimeter with me. I would have had a lot more to shoot with. But I wanted to catch him drinking and dropping the water. Zoomed in with my big lens to get the trunk and get it sharp. Something different. Get up close, black and white. Cape Buffalo decided he wanted to come have a little drink. And elephant's like, no. Made some noise, pushed him a little bit. And the Cape's like, oh yeah. The elephant went over, got some water, and started spraying him, and the Cape Buffalo ran off. So when it got dark, elephant came back. Cape came back. And we're talking about the bugs and stuff in the picture. You can see some in the water there, but also around the Cape, around its horn, you can see all kinds of bugs flying around. And then we had a couple of white rhinos show up that wanted to drink as well. And a little bit of a skirmish between the white rhinos and the Cape buffaloes. So made it fun. You can see the dust flying from the argument they were having. And this is one of my redneck rhinos with a little straw hanging out his mouth. You see the cape in the background waiting. You can see the other rhino right behind the first one with his back to us, keeping the capes away while this guy takes his drink. So he was protecting him. And once the rhinos left, the capes decided it's safe to drink, and here they come. Lots of them. And of course, you got to get the drip shot. They cannot see inside while you're photographing them, they said. This guy with bloodshot eyes stood there for 15 minutes staring at me while I'm photographing him. I was getting a little nervous, thinking he may want to come inside and join us. I don't know. But he kind of bugged me a little bit while he was there. Then we had a jackal show up, do some drinking, kind of in stealth mode. You can see him crouched down. Got the drip shot, of course, and licking. Then Nyla came in to have a drink, got my drip shot, of course. Only it's a little bit soft on the eyes when you blow it up. The one on the right's a little bit sharper, so I might use that later on in print comp. And you can see all the bugs in the water that I have to take out and clean up. And this is how close he got while he was staring at me. And I'm like, Mommy, I want to go home. I was actually scared with him being that close. He actually put a nose print on the glass when he was standing there. That's how close he got. So
You tell them that's a no-no?
I did not say a word. I didn't move. I just clicked a couple of images and stared at him while he stared at me. Serval cat, which is one of the things I was hoping to catch. Got the reflection in the water, got the tongue out, drinking the water. And the drip. Got to have the drip. These are really cool cats. They're bigger than they look there. Smaller than a cheetah, but bigger than a house cat.
Mikey, where were you going? You're still at 4,000 ISO on these?
Yeah, 4,000 ISO. Let's see what my last one was. 4,000 ISO, 2.8, 24-70.
It's still 1/25 of a second.
1/25. And you adjust as needed for the lighting, depending on the animal.
Okay, but the drip, you were getting the drip with 1/25 of a second?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was chimping, of course, to make sure that it was there.
Cool.
And he came back again. And you should see the other guy. I'm thinking about using this for print comp. Say, you should see the other guy. He got in a little bit of a battle. The girl that was in the hide with us was worried about this guy. And the guide said, if it had been a leopard or a cheetah or a lion, we'd probably do something to take care of it. The Cape buffalo, there's so many of them on the grounds, we're not worried about them. So, and there he is again, staring.
He's got crazy eyes.
Tell me about it. I was inches away from him. I'm like, holy cow.
It's got crazy eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a little nervous. So, and in the morning we had a couple of birds show up, nothing spectacular. And then go out on a game drive and went out, look for, there's another set of cheetahs, mom and baby. That's the baby sitting up, mom's kind of leaning down. She's got a necklace or collar on for tracking her so they could run her down and find her when they need to. They had just gotten a kill. We saw some impalas that were back off in the background, kind of huddling together. And so we watched them for a little while thinking that they knew the cheetah was around, but it turned out the cheetah had already got one. And so I didn't do a whole lot. I shot a whole bunch of pictures, but I didn't put a whole lot in the slideshow because of the blood and guts and stuff. So went out shooting alligator or crocodile, and just to shoot something different, I got up close and getting the tiles on the croc, something a little bit different. And of course, zebras, as they call them, zebras. 3 of a kind. Nice haircut, dude. And I noticed a lot of the zebras were hanging out with the rhinos, with the white rhinos. So just something I noticed. And on the side of the rhino, a couple of bugs, 1 or 2. And once you get all your perfunctory body shots that you have to have of the rhinos, then you go to start shooting other stuff. And so I shot his foot, needs a manicure. And the black rhinos. Now these guys are interesting. Mel was on this particular trip with me, and we're following these guys around, shooting whenever they got in the clear. We photograph them, and follow. Finally, the female, which is a shorthorn one, decided she had enough, and she charged our vehicle. The first charge was a fake charge. She got within a couple of feet, and I heard Mel scream at the top of his lungs almost, because he was right there on that side when she was charging. And it scared me a little bit. It scared him a lot. It was pretty gnarly. She charged us once more without actually charging and hitting the car. This one was more of a fake. And the guide said, normally on the 3rd try is when they'll hit you. So we decided it was time for us to leave.
Where are the pictures of her charging?
I have an out of focus picture where she's up close on my cell phone. We do have a video of her charging the 2nd time, and the guy behind me, the one with the wine, you hear him exclaim like a girl. I mean, the way he screamed back there was like, oh my God, it was funny. And I was cracking up more than scared after that one. Then we decided to go chase whatever was around. These guys are really cool, hornbills. Both of these pictures I can't use for print comp because there's a branch. I'd have to take this branch out on the left-hand one, cuts off his body. And on the right-hand one, there's a little bit of foliage that cuts off the body as well. So I can't use that in print comp, but they're nice and sharp. I did catch them in flight, which is really cool. I like the one on the left where it's wide open. Just being ready for the image. If you shoot sports, then you're ready for anything that moves. And when they start moving, you're ready to go. And you got on a machine gun fire and fire off a bunch, and you get 1 or 2 that are worth keeping. Sometimes you get some bizarre looks. And the last day we went out and photographed lions again. And again, he's stretching. And the one on the left, there were 2 male lions there. This guy on the left was not the dominant lion, so he had to sit and watch while the other male was flirting with the female. So he was not happy. I felt sorry for him. And the lighting was just perfect. Lucky. The drivers know how to put you in the best light. They're photographers as well. So they put you in with the good lighting. So you got a good shot, good chance of getting a good shot. And I'm at 80 millimeters on this, on an 80 to 200. That's how close he was. 80 millimeters. Our vehicle was photographing lions. I think Mel's vehicle was photographing a flower or something, because we got a lion laying right in front of us, and these guys can't even see the lion. They're all shooting off the wrong direction. I think they were shooting the other lion at the time. This is a hippo fight that lasted 3, maybe 4 seconds.
Good job capturing that.
I got
Yeah.
15 shots out of it. And like the one on the bottom, you can see the teeth, those sharp teeth that they have, and then one on the top right. But that was on machine gun fire. I just held it down the whole time they were fighting. So done. The fight was over. And Mel got some images as well. We were both out on the same drive on that one. Amazing. Just heard the water explode, and then these guys come flying out. Just insane. I mean, the top right, look how far out of the water that guy got. And I guess they were fighting over one of the hippos getting too close to one of the babies. And so they took exception to it and started fighting. And then I just, perfunctory trees and other things that I might use in Photoshop, take pictures and sunsets, sunrises. I think this was a sunset. I think that was a sunrise. We told the driver to stop so we could get that one. This was at sunrise, a little bit after sunrise. Wanted to get the fog across the valley there. It was so beautiful there. And another, I think that was a sunset. And you can see a couple of power poles on the left and right here that I haven't taken out. So this is basically straight out of camera. So I haven't done any work to it at all. Time on property, 6.5 days. Total images shot, 8,598. Mel spent another week up at Chobe and shot how many images total, Mel?
I've got over 13,000.
Wow.
Have you gone through them all yet?
No, not even.
8,500 images, and I think I've got about 1,500 usable images.
Wow.
There's a lot of blurs and blinks.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of garbage, that's for sure.
Yeah, a lot of out of focus, or when you're shooting in machine gun mode, there's a lot of duplicates, but I want to make sure I got them. Next year, Sharon LaBelle Magnum excursions are going back to Zamanga in May. For those that want to go, 6,200. If you want to take a screenshot of that, you can, or I can email it to you, one or the other. It's got the information on there. That's where we were this time, is Zamanga. I enjoyed the heck out of it. It was a wonderful time. I'll give you a second. You fly into Durban, and once you're in Durban, that's when the excursion starts. They'll pick you up in Durban, drive you out to the location, or fly you out, because the Zamanga now has an airplane that they're flying people out, which cuts down a little bit of time. It's about a 3.5-hour drive from Durban, which is an hour flight from Johannesburg. And then Mel carried on to Pangolin, to Chobe, Botswana, in that area. And here's a little summary on their website as well. So you go to, I think it's pangolin.com. I'm not sure. They're a little bit less expensive, but
Just as good.
just as good. In fact, they do water tours and land tours. They don't have the hides, the bird hides and the night hides that we had in Zamanga.
But with their boats, you get very, very close to some of the animals. I mean, Crocs, I could have actually touched it by hand. I was so close. Elephants, we were really, really close. The baboons, a little too close at one point.
Which one did you do of these 4 columns? No,
He kind of had a special deal
Yeah, it
that was
kind of a
arranged.
special thing. It was kind of basically about the first one pretty much. Because I spent all 6 days on the Chobe River. They also do, the day I left, they were actually going to start doing some land stuff. So they do both, but I was there mainly to shoot from the water. I wanted to get a lot of elephants and some baboons and stuff like that. So for those, it was really beneficial to shoot from the water. Same type of thing. The boats are equipped with seats that rotate and you have the gimbal heads as well.
And there's pictures on their website that show the boats and show the gimbal heads and the seats on the boats and stuff. So you can check that out as well, which is really cool. And I
Wow.
think that is probably the last slide. So I will stop sharing for now. Any questions on that part of it? Kip?
Amazing, my brother. Amazing.
Okay.
Supersonic. That was legit.
Oh, that was, I was in hog heaven. I mean, I was shooting a machine gun mode the whole week and just loving it. And the guy that was with me was like, I'm bored. Like, how can you
Who's
be
he
bored?
going
This is-
to?
Don't get it.
Well,
was
they
there.
also travel a ton.
Yeah,
so,
they do.
Yeah.
And they had more places to go besides that. That was my only
Yeah,
stop.
they were continuing on for another 2 weeks. So
But I was
How many hard drives
amazed.
did you take?
What's that?
You took external hard drives. How many?
3 external hard drives
Okay.
for my laptop. And I made sure that I backed it up on all 3 before I formatted the disk again
after day 1.
after day 1. That was not pretty.
Thank you, Mel.
No, it was not. It was not pretty, I have to admit.
It loaded it into a different folder than where they were supposed to be, and they just weren't there. And there's probably 500-600 images, including some of my better shots that just drove me crazy. When you get there around noon on Sunday. They feed you lunch, get you to your room, test you to make sure, do a temperature check. Every morning they do a temperature check, checking you for COVID. The last on Friday, we did a COVID test before we left, and they gave us printed results on Saturday. So when we left on Sunday, we had the papers in our hands. Really good to work with. The staff there was just super friendly. They're not great bartenders, unfortunately.
That's an understatement.
I got a margarita that tasted like water, so couldn't taste tequila in it. But the food was 5-star. The filet mignon, on the night we had filet mignon, I think Mel was in a hide that night, so he didn't get dinner with us.
Yeah.
And needless to say, I texted a picture of the filet mignon to him. Overall, it was a fun trip. I mean, it was fantastic. I can show a couple of images how to play with them, and if you want, or we can just call it good now. It's up to you.
Hey, Michael, it's Gary. I got a couple of questions for you.
I got a couple of answers for you.
Okay, so in those Jeeps, it didn't look like much protection if, say, a lion wanted to jump in.
No, there was basically no protection.
Yeah, how did you film it? And was that any risk of lions doing that?
The lions and the cheetahs are kind of trained to have people around. The staff, when they first get them on property, the staff will bring the vehicles to them. They start to get jittery, they'll back up. And then they get out of the vehicle after a while and get them accustomed to having people around them. So they're used to us being there. The drivers are alert for any signs that the animal's going to be aggressive. They know the animals very well. In fact, they got names for all the animals as well. So they're well versed in the animals, well trained. I trusted them. But when that lion roared and he was 10 feet away from me, that woke me up.
And when the rhino charged, I mean, that certainly woke us up as well. So,
Yeah.
I mean, things could definitely happen, no question.
And the driver warned us about the rhinos possibly charging us and said the black rhinos are more aggressive than the white rhinos. And they definitely were. I mean, when that female charged us, it's like Mel's voice went up about 10 octaves.
Yeah.
So
Now,
How
when you're
how
in-
large? When
when you're in the Jeep, is there any support for the camera, especially if you have big lenses on it? Or are you hand holding the whole time while in the Jeep?
I took a monopod for my long lens. So when I'm shooting with my 80 to 200 or my 200 to 500, I had a monopod. So I had it secured onto the seat or on my leg to keep the vibration down or the shakes. Because if you're shooting a long lens and you're trying to hand hold it for a long period of time,
Yep.
I don't know if you've shot sports or anything, it's like
I have.
monopod is a wonderful tool. I
Okay.
handheld my smaller lens, my 24 to 70. That was handheld. I had one on the seat, one on my lap the whole time I was there. And when I was in the hides, I had both cameras going at the same time as well. Jeannie, you're going to ask a question?
Yeah, I just thought of another one though. What kind of head did you have on the monopod? It probably wasn't a gimbal or something like that.
No, it's just you screw it into the bottom of your lens. Let me grab it for you real quick. It's just your typical monopod. Just got
Okay.
your little head on there, and then it screws in. You can screw it into the body, but for a long lens, I recommend screwing into the lens itself. That way you can rotate your camera back and forth from horizontal to vertical and get the shot that you want.
Okay, so I had, my other question is, well, two. How big is the reserve, and did most of the animals, they weren't being fed, right? They actually had to hunt and.
They do the
forage for their own
hunting,
food.
and yeah, that's why the cheetahs are out there eating impalas and all that stuff. The reserve is huge. I mean, we drove 35, 40 minutes to get to the end of it, the road we went to for the lions. And it's like 15 minutes to the gate from the housing. It's probably on their website how big it is, but I know it talks about hectares, how big, I don't know hectares, how big hectares are. It's huge. There's plenty of room to move around.
When you're in the blinds, that's from 3 p.m. to 9 a.m., correct?
Yeah.
So is it lit up all night with LEDs?
It's lit up the whole night. If an animal comes close, the alarm goes off, starts beeping, go beep, beep, beep. One hide, the alarm will go off when they're getting close. The other hide, it went off when they were there. So the beeping wouldn't start till they're actually there at the water. Oh, duh, we know they're there, we see them.
So were you kind of laying down, just kind of waiting for the beep to go off, or what were you doing during most of that time?
I pretty much, well, most of the nights I would stay up most of the night. Everybody else was asleep, and I'd have to wake them up when the animals came. Mel had the same experience. He was awake. I sat in my chair watching out for, you know, from dark to sunrise. I did the second night, we had a whole bunch of animals up until like 3 a.m. And then I got a couple hours sleep, and then something showed up at just before sunrise.
What kind of chairs did you have in the hide? Are they captain chairs? Or are
Like
they-
my desk chair,
Okay,
office chairs.
all right. Cool.
They're comfortable.
Okay.
So you can lean back in them a little bit. You don't have to worry about moving the camera around because it's on the tripod and the gimbal. The first night took me a little bit getting used to the tilt and the rotation on it, but after that, it was fairly easy to use.
Did you have a chance to take naps to make up for not sleeping in the middle of the night?
On my flight home, yeah. Did I show you how long a flight we had coming or going and coming back? Coming back, I went from Durban to Johannesburg, which is an hour flight, Johannesburg to Doha in Qatar, which was 12 hours, Qatar to Seattle, which was 14 hours, Seattle to Boise, another hour. So I tried to sleep most of the way coming home on that. I had an exit row, so I had plenty of leg room. The seat wasn't very big or very comfortable though, so. You just sleep when you can and forget about, you know, after the night hides, you take like an hour nap before lunch, go out and do your afternoon drive after lunch, come back in, and you sleep solid that night. I mean, you're out.
You're not out in the hides every night then?
No, we're only out in the night hides 2 nights.
Oh, okay.
There's 2 different night hides, and you're out 1 night each one.
Michael, it was very nice of you to wake the others up.
It took me a little while to wake one guy up.
One with the wine?
I'm whispering his name, and finally I shook his bed and said, "Get up, Clint, it's time to get up. There's an animal out here." So yeah. I guess he didn't care.
Any other safaris, like you talked about the Great Migration in Central Africa? How'd you pick this one versus other African safaris?
This one, Sharon Lobel was arranging all this, and I had to host a Zoom meeting for her because Mel wasn't available to host it. And I wasn't even signed up for it at the time. And she's talking me into it. I said, "I can't afford it, girl, sorry." And then she called me about 3 weeks later and said, "Here's the deal. You're going whether you like it or not." So I talked to my wife, and she reluctantly said, okay. And basically I was gone for 2 weeks, a week of travel and a week of there. So would I do it? Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, your pictures, of course, are absolutely fabulous.
Thank you.
And the 2 to 500, is that the Nikon?
That's the Nikon 2 to 500. I had the Tamron 160 to 600.
150 to 600.
150 to 600. I sold it and bought the Nikon. And I am more than happy with the Nikon. It was sharp, razor sharp, except for that one bird I couldn't catch. I could not get him sharp.
How many bird blinds do you have? You got 2 bird blinds too?
I only got to shoot 1 bird blind. There was a second blind. There's 2 bird blinds. There's a scavenger hunt or scavenger blind, and there's the what's the one by the pond? Lagoon hide,
Yeah.
which I didn't get to do. The guy that was with us that didn't like birds told Buddy, the head honcho, that he didn't want to do it, and so we ended up not doing that. We went out on a drive, but the drive was very fruitful, so it was worth it.
And did I understand that you actually lost your pictures from the first day?
No comment.
I mean, for real, you couldn't get them back?
Oh, he
Okay.
got them.
Here's the deal.
Okay.
I loaded them into my laptop, and with Bridge, I use Bridge for loading them, photo downloader out of Bridge. So I just put it in, it automatically on my home computer desktop, it automatically loads to the last place that we downloaded to.
Mhm.
Well, with the laptop, it didn't do that. It put it into some other folder.
Okay, but they were still
So
there.
they were still there, just in a different folder, and I couldn't find them for several hours because I didn't know they're in a different folder, and I'd already formatted the hard drive or the disk to put it back in the camera.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
Oh no. Mel was the sorry one because he had to listen to me for 2 hours till I found it. Ah,
And Mel, when will you be doing your presentation? We're anxious to see your presentation as well.
There's one being put together.
Awesome. Look forward to that.
Next month, maybe we can schedule you for our next
Well,
meeting.
and it's
Welcome.
interesting is that even though we were at the same location, because we were very rarely in the same vehicle, we really have a completely different set of images.
Wow.
There's a lot of images he has. I didn't even see certain animals and vice versa. So
right.
you know, it's kind of interesting how that worked out.
And the cool thing is, even if you're together in the same vehicle at the same time, shooting the same things, you're going to have totally different images. I mean, if you go out and photograph a landscape, I could be standing next to Jeannie or Janine shooting the same direction, but we're going to have totally different images just because of what we see and how we interpret it. The animals are the same thing. Yeah, you're going to get a couple that are similar, but there's so much variety out there. You were with me when we were shooting the giraffes, right, Mel?
No,
No?
no.
Okay. We had giraffes that were necking, basically wrapping their necks around each other, but that's their way of fighting. And I got a whole bunch of images of that. And then, you know, I actually put together, or I started with a book that I printed from Miller's, and then I left the giraffes and the hippos out. So I had to print a second book. So my wife's not happy with me because I spent so much money on the books, but I'm used to that.
And where is she going on her 2-week trip?
She's going out to California with me next week.
Ah,
How about her unique one without you? Because you did one without her.
She don't want to travel without me. And
Oh,
I tell you what, it is,
sweet.
especially going overseas. Yogi's a pro at it. He's done it all the time. I'm not a pro at going overseas. This is my first overseas trip. It was nerve-wracking for me. We got into London Heathrow. We got off the plane. We got off the plane in London Heathrow, went through security to get into the airport, walked over to where our next flight was going to be, and they had to go through security again. They took my bottle of wine that I had from the plane away.
Oh,
We're still in the
sad.
security area. You took my little bitty bottle of wine.
Oh, you should have drank it.
When
It
he's
was 9 o'clock in the morning.
9 o'clock in the morning, he goes, "You want to chug this?" Yeah, right. First of all, I'm not much of a drinker to begin with. And then, nah. And then flying back, when I got into Doha, Qatar, got off the plane, went through security to get into the airport, show your passport, all that stuff. Got into the main terminal area. So I bought a water because I'm inside, took a slug of it. I got like 15 minutes till I got to start boarding. So I walked down to my gate, which is down in the far end of the country, get there, and they go, "You can't take that water in." What do you mean? I bought it right here. Sorry.
Yeah.
That one I did chug a lot of. They had me open up my camera case, swabbed all my cameras, swabbed my laptop, swabbed my iPad, had to take my iPad out of its case so they could swab it because it was inside of one of those folding cases. Had to go
What are they
through
checking for when they swab it?
explosives.
Okay.
Qatar's
Yeah.
right across the street from Iraq and Iran. So
Yeah, when we were in Johannesburg, when they went through a bunch of the camera bags, they were taking everybody's Allen wrenches that you would use for your tripod or for your plates because they, hey, it's a weapon. So if you're check your Allen wrenches. Don't leave it in your camera bag that you're carrying them on because they confiscated about 8 of them.
Wow.
make sure you're within weight for each airline that you book.
Yeah, that's another one.
Oh, yeah, no.
35 pounds or is it 50? 35 pounds probably?
35 for Skylink was 35. United is 50. I don't know what the other airline was.
Yeah, I think the international one, the big airlines were fine. It was the little stuff where, you definitely were paying a little bit of overage fees.
Yeah.
But I think one time I paid $5 and I think the other one was less than 10. The couple times I had to pay for overage.
Sharon was going to have to pay a chunk on the Skylink and ended up not paying. So she skated
Well,
through
she
that
put a
one.
bunch into a carry-on bag that she carried. So she ended up with 3 carry-ons, even though they didn't really say anything about that. So basically she ended up on the plane with the same amount of weight. It was just dispersed differently.
Wow.
Yeah, you just got to know the rules that they have there and stuff.
So are you coming to photograph Duffy?
No, he's not even playing yet.
Okay.
He's injured probably till the middle of September.
All right.
I had somebody ask me for a picture of him in his Dodger uniform and he ain't got none yet.
All right.
He ain't even showed up. So I'm coming to shoot a couple of seniors. I'm shooting 3 high school seniors and visiting family while I'm there. I'm letting the seniors pay for the trip.
Cool.
And we're still Tuesday at 1?
Tuesday, yeah.
Tuesday at 1.
Yep.
At Chef Rick's in Santa Maria. Everybody's invited, so come on down.
Oh, that's when? Which Tuesday?
Tuesday
Next
the
Tuesday. Week from tomorrow.
24th.
24th.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
At what time?
1 o'clock. 1300.
Oh, I actually have that on my calendar. What do you know?
Okay.
August 24th. Okay.
Did you have any power issues there with charging? And I mean, because they run on generators, they don't shut the lights off?
You're talking about the lights at night in the hides?
Yeah, they turn the power off so you can charge your equipment and all that.
There's a room in the back with plugs where you can plug in and charge everything.
Okay.
If you need to. I didn't need to charge. I charged before I go out there. And when I got back from every hide or every drive, I would charge up to make sure everything's charged and cards are free.
Did you need any special adapters, Mike?
There's South African adapters. They provide a cup or one for your room for American. Mel took one of his own and plugged his fan in our Airbnb. When he plugged the fan in, about 30 seconds later, it's like, Mel, I smell something. He burned up the fan. So be careful of your adapters. They will give you one for your room so you can plug in. It's not enough unless you bring an extension cord. So bring an extension cord with multiples on there. Mel had one that worked good, because if you're charging your phone, your camera, your laptop, 2 cameras,
multiple batteries. Yeah, you
multiple
definitely
batteries.
need an adapter to an extension cord with multiple plugs because you need them.
How many extra batteries you bring, Mikey?
My big camera had 2 batteries in it, which never ran it down. And my little camera had 1. So I had 3 batteries total. But I never shot enough to even hit the hide the whole night. I didn't burn up a battery. I don't do a lot of chimping. I'm not shooting live view a lot. So that'll burn up your batteries real fast.
Yeah, if you're shooting a mirrorless is definitely going to use up more battery.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of, whether you're shooting DSLR or mirrorless. On my mirrorless cameras, I had 2 batteries for each one. And only once, I think, did I end up in the second battery where it was getting a little on the low side, but I never went past the 2 batteries ever.
You can turn off your display on that.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And
Michael, did you find, because you were shooting rather high ISO, did you find that the 810 actually handled the ISO better than the 850?
I think the 850 handled it better.
Oh, okay.
They're both very good
Mhm.
with the high ISOs. And then when you run it through Topaz denoise
Mhm.
AI, amazing.
Okay.
Denoise is amazing.
Mhm.
That sucker works really, really well.
I brought the program strictly to deal with the images from this trip.
And a good investment it was.
Yep.
And it also sharpens a little bit too, but they also have a sharpener AI, which helps as well.
Mhm. Yeah, I need to update mine.
Yeah, it's
Worth it.
if you have denoise already and it's not the AI version, AI
Mhm.
is free.
Okay.
The
I
upgrade is free.
I haven't used it lately, so I just need to bring everything up to speed
Get
again.
everything up to date. And yeah, if you want to update your Nick software, it's $79.
Mhm.
They don't upgrade for free. I found that out the hard way.
Janine, make sure you upgrade, log into Topaz
Mhm.
and do your upgrade from Topaz.
Yes, okay.
Because if you just go on and order it or buy it, it's going to cost you more. The upgrades are either free or discounted more than the product.
If a software that you already have, they upgrade for free forever is what sold me on their software way back when.
Mhm.
I'm happy with it.
Okay, thank you.
When I took 3 lenses with me in my camera bag, 2 bodies and 3 lenses, no flash, 2 chargers, my lenses 24 to 70, 80 to 200, and 200 to 500. And most of the time I worked with my 200 to 500 for my long shots and 70 or 24 to 70 for the wide open stuff.
Mhm.
I didn't take 14, 50, 85 macro. And my bag was heavy. It was probably close to 40 pounds with
Mhm.
just those lenses.
So Michael, on airplane back, did Mel offer you his first class seat for extra leg room? Since you have bigger legs?
Mel was on a different flight. I was all by myself coming back.
Okay.
So I had the exit row, fire escape. Yeah, right. The exit row. Coming back. And the flights were full. They were both 100% capacity.
Oh, wow.
And I can't believe some of the pigs on flights. There was one guy, he had row to himself with the window. He must have took off his shoes, his socks. He left a box of KFC on the floor, bags of trash. I mean, he just trashed the place. It's like, are you kidding me? Ay, ay, ay. Best thing you can do when you're flying is be nice to the flight attendants.
Yeah.
When you walk on board, say hi to them. The flight attendant that gave me the first class seat remembered us when they sat. We were in the London Heathrow waiting area a couple hours before flight. They showed up, the crew showed up, and we talked to them for a couple of seconds. Hi, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. Well, she remembered us because I talked to her. Be nice to them. You never know how nice they can be to you.
Yep. Was Sharon in your group or was she in a different group on that trip?
She was always in a different group, and Mel most of the time was in a different group.
Okay. She had three groups basically.
There was 4 groups. Buddy was the leader in one group. He's one of the guy that runs Magnum Tours. Sharon, who does her tours, was the leader in one group. And Andrew Avali from South Africa was a leader in another group. My group did not have a leader. One of the girls in our group didn't know how to use her camera. So I put it on aperture priority for her, got it set up, and she kept fiddling with it and screwed it up. Something's wrong, it's not working. So I fixed it for her. Grumble, grumble. Know your gear before you go, because you're going to be changing apertures. You're going to be changing from aperture priority to manual. Because if you want aperture priority, you're going to get more light. If you want manual, you can get the sunsets and the silhouette shots, the unique shots. So you're constantly changing stuff. You got to be able to change your lenses in the dark. And the D850 and the D800, when you change the D850, you change your ISO right above your shutter. And the D800, you change your mode right above the shutter. So they moved them differently. So you got to remember which camera you're working with, be able to change it. But that's like with any shoot that you go on. You got to know your gear. You got to know your limitations and what you can do with it.
When you were photographing your birds, you weren't doing auto ISO?
No.
Okay.
I had it on, well, if it was daylight, most of the time it's either 400 or 800. And then aperture priority.
Now, Kip, when I went to Botswana, yeah, we switched to auto ISO because everything was changing so rapidly there. So yeah, I did switch to auto ISO there.
I accidentally got onto auto ISO in San Diego when I was doing night shot along the bay there.
Yeah.
And it kept coming up daylight, kept coming up daylight. I was like, what the crud is happening here? And ever since then, I've sworn off of auto ISO. So
it's the best thing in the world when you're photographing birds.
If you know what you're doing with it, yeah.
Because I mean, your ISO you can set up to 4,000 or 6,000. I'm sorry, your shutter speed set to 4,000 when you're photographing birds that are flying or whatever at 6,000.
Yeah.
And the auto ISO will just say where you want it to go, 6,400, or if you want to be higher during the day. But it'll bring it down when the sun comes up. It'll bring it down to 320 or whatever. But you still have your exposure at 4,000 shutter speed,
right?
Whatever aperture you're at. So, or yeah.
Yeah, I was watching my shutter speed as I'm doing aperture priority, and if I needed to, I could adjust the ISO. But I don't know. I like to be in more control of my camera.
I used to as well.
Except for the autofocus. I need help. I need that. I did use manual focus a couple times though.
Yeah.
Only because things were so close. I had to go to manual focus to get it in focus.
Yeah.
And that one Cape Buffalo that kept staring at me. Oh my God.
He looked very, very scary.
He was very, very scary. I don't scare easily. I don't think Mel heard me scream when the rhino charged us, but I was ready to scream when that Cape was sitting there staring at me through that window, like 2 feet away.
He was a teddy bear, Mike. He was a teddy bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something though about a charging rhino that changes your opinion real fast.
Well, especially when you're on that side of the truck.
Yeah, especially when you're on that side that it's coming.
Yeah.
It's basically lining up right with you.
He decided you were a threat.
Apparently.
That's when you jump on your passenger's lap on the other side.
Well, the
That's when
only
you shove
problem is
Mike in
you're
front
only
of you.
going about 24 inches.
The vehicle sits 3 across, but you only have 2 at most on any drive.
And a big, usually a big camera bag's in between you. So, you know, those things aren't moving very much.
So a question on the overage on the smaller airlines. So the camera bag's going to weigh more than probably 35 pounds. So is it basically you pay an extra fee when you exceed the 35?
I brought my camera. It was a carry-on, so they didn't weigh it. The only one that weighed it was Qatar Airlines when I was going back. and they were also concerned about what was inside and that it was carry-on. And you know, you want me to open it, I'll be happy. So I opened it to show it was camera gear, and then I put a strap on there that says "Caution Fragile." It's a lime green strap that goes around it. So when they, like, from United from Boise to LA, it's a smaller plane, so they had to gate check it. And so I asked the guy very nicely, please be kind to this. And so it had that on there so they know. Also, TSA approved locks. Little locks like this that you put between the zipper. Somehow mine disappeared off my camera bag. When I got to Zamanga, I went to open the bag, said, hey, there's no lock on there. Well, coming home, I made sure it was on the bag, camera bag, not my luggage. I didn't care about dirty clothes. They also, one more thing about dirty clothes, they did laundry for you at Zamanga for free. And it was, you turn it in one day, the next day it's back, folded, ironed, nice and clean. They did a great job. So
so Mike, did you check in your cameras and your lenses, or you took it and carry on?
I carried them on everything except the flight to LA from Boise.
Is that because of the weight limit? Because you said it was almost 30-40 pounds.
It's
that much.
I wanted to carry it on with me, so I had it with me the whole time. I didn't want it in the luggage hold because I had the lenses in there and the cameras in there.
But isn't that a weight limit for hand luggage carry on?
They don't check your carry-on most
They
of
don't
the
check
time.
it. There was no place that we went that checked the carry-on. I mean, I had a kind of a backpack style camera bag, and I mean, it was loaded with everything, and they never once checked it. Only once did I have to kind of shove it under the seat because it wouldn't fit in the overhead.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's good to know.
Yeah, when I went to Iceland, they checked my weight inside the airport up in Seattle. They checked the weight for the carry-on, and it was like, had to be like 35 pounds.
Was it a small plane?
No, to Iceland, from Seattle to Iceland. It was a big
That's a
flight.
long flight. Yeah.
Wow.
But it's I think their overhead compartments are smaller,
Okay.
but they still wanted to check it, and we were protesting, saying, no, you can't throw these in the, you know, in the luggage hall.
Yeah.
So
I did everything I could not to put it in the luggage because I want my cameras with me.
you want them working.
And when I came home, I put one of my hard drives in my suitcase, and then two of the hard drives were one in my camera bag and one in my laptop bag. So I had them separated just in case. So I had two backups no matter what. So that's why I took 3 hard drives. The one hard drive, I don't know what I did with it.
Michael, was it where you said you were using a backpack?
I was using my roller camera bag.
Okay, so it's a hard shell?
Soft shell.
Soft shell?
But it's got enough padding around it that it's going to absorb just about anything. SanDisk has a hard drive that's this big, and it is 1 terabyte.
Costco for $99 right now.
Well worth. So Mel turned me on to that one. I snagged that puppy right away. Then I had 2 other older hard drives that I used. But I backed up everything. You know me, I like to back things up. So that's probably rule number 1, is back everything up before you format your hard drive. Make sure it's backed up on everything and double check. Lesson learned.
How many hard drives? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to ask Mel, how many hard drives did you take?
I took 2 plus the laptop.
So you
So I
had
had it
three
backed up.
backups.
So I had it backed up in 3 places.
Okay.
I probably could have backed it up on my desktop, on my laptop, but it's solid state drive. I'm not even going to worry about it. I'm just going to put it all on external hard drives and call it good.
Well, it sounds like it was a wonderful trip.
Oh my God, yes. Yes,
Sounds
yes, yes.
amazing.
You have some amazing images.
Thank you.
You know,
I
you
just,
suck, my brother. You suck.
I love you too, Kip. I love
True.
you too. Yeah, I can't describe the feeling when I got back. I mean, it's just, and then going through the images, probably what I did, I went through and used the star rating. I did 5-star for the ones I wanted to look at again. And there's probably 2,000 of those, and the rest of them I just let it go, and then sorted by the 5 stars, and then went through them again. And so I'm sure if I go through them again, I'll find others that I really like that I didn't pick the first time around. So
You get spoiled when you get somebody to pose the animals for you.
somebody asked me who posed that lion today on Facebook. I love it.
Wow.
That was at 70 millimeters or 80 millimeters. I mean, it was my 80 to 200. I didn't take the big lens out that morning. I took my shorter lens, and it was all the way out. I mean, 80. I was like, that puppy was spitting distance. And you get that close to the animals, and it's an experience. It's a once in a lifetime experience. I'm glad I got to go on it.
Wow.
I know you told us your lenses, but I missed one. You had a 24-70 and a
80 to 200.
80 to 200. And then a 2 to 5.
And then a 200 to 500. The 80 to 200 and the 24 to 70s are 2.8, and the 200 to 500 is 5.6 to 6.5. And most of the time I'm shooting wide open, because we're at a distance to where depth of field is not going to hurt you too bad, except at the scavenger height. I should have gone to f8, f11, maybe a little bit more, bump my ISO up one more notch. Okay, cool.
That was awesome, Michael. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
So,
I can't wait to see Mel's stuff.
yeah.
I've seen some of his stuff already, but not a lot yet. And if I could, I would go back in a couple of years and do it again.
That would be very cool.
Like in 2 years, if I could save up enough money, which I don't think I can, but we'll see.
You might have to start working again, do some more seniors and
Don't push it.
do a couple of weddings, you'll be just fine.
Maybe I can sell some of these or sell books or something. And
There you go.
I think you might.
I'll bring the books with me on when I come next week,
Oh, great.
so you guys could take a look at those. And we'll see what
Awesome.
happens.
Awesome. Nice
Henry-
presentation, Mike. Really
Thank you.
good.
Very
Mel,
good.
be looking forward to yours.
Next
Yeah.
month is print competition, so you might see.
You're not allowed to enter.
Of course he is.
I got to get scores on these. I got to see what they're going to score so I can figure out for next year for IPC and district and PPC as well. So I got to get some scores up.
Okay. All right. We'll let you.
So if any of those that you guys really like, let me know. And
They were all
you can't,
really, really
you
good.
I
can't
like
tell me
all
because
of
you'll tell me
them.
the wrong ones.
I liked them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, they suck. Don't worry.
Amazing.
Right, Kip?
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
It's
Yeah.
nice to
bought a
have
couple of
friends.
I think I'm fond of those little cheetahs. They're just too cute.
Oh, they are cuter than cute.
I liked the little orange birds.
Yeah. the little birds, the colorful birds were pretty
Oh
awesome.
my
The
gosh.
line of birds.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I entered that at the San Jose group, Santa Clarita.
how did it do?
I don't know yet. It's
Santa Clara.
Santa Clara group. Yeah, not Santa Clarita, Santa Clara. It's Wednesday night and Sacramento is Thursday night, or
I think
vice
so. I think
versa.
we're right after each other.
One's Wednesday and one's Thursday. So I'll know my scores by Friday.
So
Nice.
do you belong to all of those clubs?
No, they actually allow free. Well, Santa Clara allows 2 images for free. Sacramento is $15 an image just for score and critique. You don't,
Oh,
you, no awards are allowed, but you can enter so you can get scores. So that's what I want to do.
Oh, that's nice.
My favorite Cape Buffalo shot was your lineup of them, the black and white.
I like that one.
That was legit. And
That
then,
one's cool.
I also like your favorite bird, your complete bird pictures.
I loved the way the horns showed up on those Cape Rhino, right, Cape
The
Buffaloes.
Cape Buffaloes when they're up close
Yeah.
and stuff, and that
Yeah,
mask
the light
across
was
here.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. You don't realize how big they are till they're up in your face, and then you.
Did you have to clean the glass after they came over to give you a kiss?
No, there was a smudge mark right here, but I wasn't shooting right there, so I just left it like it was. But I did have to clean my shorts.
Good thing they did laundry.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
The food was dynamite. The people were great. The bartender was not so good, but that's okay for me. I didn't drink that much anyway. You just have to learn some different language while you're down there. A Diet Coke is a Coke Light. And there's a few other things that they say differently, but it was interesting. It was fun.
Well, it sure looks like it was an awesome trip.
It was
Yeah,
on a scale of
it
1
was
to 10,
awesome.
about a 12.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing with
Thank
My
us.
you, Mike.
pleasure. Oh, definitely my pleasure. I like to brag about my pictures.
Well, they rock.
Good
It
seeing
looks
everyone.
amazing. All of us are drooling, I think.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Scott.
Nice to see everyone.
Good
Good
to
seeing
see you.
y'all.
See you too.
Bye,
Good
honey.
to come down, Mike.
We'll see a lot of
Yes.
you guys next week.
See you next
Yeah.
week.
Are you coming
Thanks
up,
for
Mel?
the
I
invitation.
am.
Mike.
Good.
Oh,
good.
good.
Oh, yay.
What's that, Scott?
Thanks for the invitation.
My pleasure. Glad you
enjoyed
showed
it.
up. Good.
Thanks.
Hopefully it gets you excited to go.
Oh yeah, we're going next year.
Good.
Oh, good.
You'll love it.
Yeah,
Either one of those 2 places, you'll have a good time.
looking forward to it.
Cool. Check with Sharon. She can hook you up with that, or Buddy from Magnum Tours. He can
Okay.
hook you up with that as well. He took care
Okay.
of Mel, getting him set up for change, because Mel was going to go to Paris afterwards, but Paris was shut down.
Wow.
Oh wow.
So he set him up on the Chobe tour, which is good. Lucky for Mel. Let me
Yeah. Awesome.
stop recording.